Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to Dark Souls 1. You may be wondering what the hell I'm doing down here. Well, down here is the way to the final, or penultimate area, I should say, of the game, which is Demon Ruins and Lost Islip. But before I do that, there is something I want to do. There are two NPC questlines, Solaires and Sigmars, which reach a sort of climax at this point and can end in Lost Islip. So I'm doing a little bit of preparation. It won't really take all that very long, at least for you, because I'm going to be cutting it down, but it involves good old fair lady here.
Oh, my dear sister, don't mind me.
I need to re-enter her covenant and give her 30 humanity, and I'll explain that after it is done.
Enter a covenant, of course.
Of course, I think I've mentioned this before, but she just does not question the fact that she's entering a covenant with her sister for some reason. Even though covenants are supposed to be like pacts with the gods. So I'll be reoffering her humanity, 30 to be specific, and then I'll show you what I did that for later.
Goodbye, Quayla, too. Oh, thank you, Quayla.
There we go. After a billion fucking years, I gave her all the humanity she needed. I can't remember if she has any new dialogue for that.
Quayla, please, sister, do not cry. I am happy, really. I have you, don't I? I'll be fine, but then...
Nope, just more things to make you cry.
Goodbye, Quayla. Do be safe.
Well, that's done. And the reason I did that, you'll see as we go further down into the Demon Ruins. But, that's part of what I'm going to be showing. Do I need to change any of these? I don't need Cast Light anymore, that's for sure. Dark Beat. If I want to just trivialize the game, yeah. Does this have anything interesting dialogue-wise? Or description-wise? Oh, well, that tells you basically what happened. I think I got the dialogue from Quiolana anyway, but this basically says, that the Witch of Islip is the one responsible for the whole demons and demon ruins and Lost Islip, because she tried to recreate the first flame, but using the Chaos Soul, which is what the witches have. And so things got pretty fucked up. One thing that would actually be quite useful, what is it? Oh, it's search. Would be... I think I just went completely past it. Wait, can I use this now? Oh, no, 25, 30. This flashlight. Because we're going into an area that is full of fiery demons. And the like. I don't think I'm gonna need magic barrier. But what could I use instead? This might actually be quite useful. I'll put it on just in case. Hidden body is just a generally very useful skill. Now then. There are a plethora of bosses in the Demon Ruins leading up to your Lost Islip. Most of them are pretty shit. But, we'll be going through them nonetheless. Nonetheless, that will happen. And particularly with this one, over yonder, Thought over there, I'll be dealing with first. Because you need to deal with him to, basically get rid of all this horrible lava that will kill you pretty dead if you try to go into it. Although if some speedrunners do this trick with the edges around there, which allows them to just sort of skip that. There's also this. If you slip down there and roll at the last second, you will not take damage. Just because of the way fall damage is sort of added or something, it's very weird. I think that's like the only spot in the game where you can really take advantage of that, though. Now then, this boss is kind of notorious in a sense because he's supposed to be a boss that you come back to around the midpoint in order to open up the Demon Ruins of Lost Izalith like I'm doing now. But the thing about it is that there's a hidden mechanic with the boss, where if you go and aggro him, run all the way back here, and he's behaving himself, he will do a jump, where he will put his arm there and he'll be hanging over this chasm of lava. And if you do so much as just this, 6 times, to his arm, he will fall down and die. You can do this at any level, it is pretty much risk-free. So what I like to do usually is, as soon as I've killed Quelaag, I go and kill this boss, because it's an easy 20,000 souls right away after finishing Quelaag, who I think is another 20,000 herself. But I'm not going to be doing that this time, just because that's not particularly interesting to watch, nor is it particularly impressive. Plus, there might be some people who genuinely don't know how this boss fights, because all they've seen is people cheat it. This is the man himself. Lovable chap. He's a big and burly lad, but he's not in good spirits, is he? Oh. And then this asshole just comes along and just starts shit. What a dick. Anyway, you can aggro him by just attacking, and if you do that and then die, he will not immediately re-aggro to you. So, if you want to do that, like, play it safe, I guess you can do that. I don't know, maybe I should do that. The other way is you grab this item and he immediately aggroes no matter what, and he will remain aggroed, because over there is his sister's corpse, and you just go and loot it, and he gets pretty pissed off. I think I'll just do this anyway, it shouldn't actually be that big a deal. He says, and then immediately gets wrecked. That's probably what's going to happen. The rather hilariously named Ceaseless Discharge. Now this fight... This is a fight where you don't really want to roll, because it will not work. Instead, you just run. Run a lot. Because he has a lot of recovery time, because they expect you to get hit, get up, and then trade blows, but I will not need to do that. He does have a few nasty moves up his sleeve, but he's not doing any of them today, so that's handy. Get him! Hit him! Oh! Oh, fuck. You see how nasty it is when he hits you, though. Oh, fuck. What are you doing? But yeah. Rip in pieces. So there you go. A hard-hitting boss, but slow enough and with very little health, so it doesn't usually cause that much trouble. But like I said, you don't want to roll all that much, just because usually you'll just get hit. Very rare instance in Souls games where you don't actually want to roll against a boss, but there you go. And now for the agonizing long trek down to see the fruits of our labor. Okay, so 90 years later, we're here and Half-Life 3's been released, but we're also at the Demon Ruins. Down that way, guarded by many, many Taurus demons, is I think a soul item, and then further beyond that is the Chaos Ember, which is used to make Chaos weapons. Which, I don't know, I might do for the sake of having a Chaos Hander lololol giant dad OMG. Not really, but whatever. But, I'm not really gonna bother with that because this is what I came here to do. Clear out the Demon Ruins. Everything else I can handle later. So let's go take out L Dickhead over here. Mr. I'm nothing without my doges. Later! There's also someone else who comes and pays a surprise visit in this area, who you'll see very shortly, and who I may or may not just completely obliterate. Depending on what mood I'm in. Do I try and parry him? Ooh. Invaded! Oh my god! What am I gonna do now? Yellow! Ah, boy. Dark Souls 1 NPCs. For some reason, they almost always open with a roll towards you and then a rolling attack. Almost always they do that, and it almost always just gets them parried and killed. It's wonderful. Fuck you looking at, mate? BAM! You think you're good? Oh, fuck. I'm no good. Ah, there we go. Need to clear these dickheads. And not with my... Oh, damn. The sick backstep. This man, he's a Dark Souls 2 pro. There we go. One of the annoying things about Souls games is just how often you'll knock an enemy out of position and then not be able to hit them with follow-ups. So, it's occasionally, or quite often worthwhile to just walk towards them after a hit. That's if they're staggered anyway. There's a bonfire down there you can get if you want, I don't really care. This will not take that long, ideally. Or I could eat my own words and lose all these souls. And then I'll just cry to myself, because I'll think, wow, I'm amazing at this game. I put nearly 350 hours into. Well, more than that, actually. Hmm. Down that way is the large flame ember, which is the other counterpart to the chaos ember. The one that nobody really bothers with. Now. These dickheads are gonna come over here and I'm gonna give them the good old sweep! And we can move on. Now. Down this way is the main thing I was trying to go for, and the reason I gave the fair lady the humanity. Doing this opens up a shortcut, firstly, that allows you to skip the two bosses I'm going to fight. What it also allows you to do is go and kill an enemy that's required for a certain ending for the NPC questlines. I'll explain that later. Please give me enough time, please, 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 please. Oh! Alright, cheers, bud. Oh, that's actually not good. It's kind of in a shitty place. So yeah, it's the Stray Demon, but on fire. Because, you know, Dark Souls 2, like, reused bosses over and over and gets a lot of shit for that, but Dark Souls 1 never did that, no. No siree, Bob, you never had that happen, no, no. It's a perfect game. Perfect in literally every way. There's not really a lot to say about this boss. I will say that, like, yeah, as much as this is my favourite game, definitely has its problems. And definitely has things that people overlook, like certain corners being cut with certain bosses. No, perfect game, obviously. Literally no problems. On that note, this area is actually very notorious because of the fact that it was the rushed area. Like, this is one of those areas that was rushed and barely finished because they needed to release the game. So a lot of the ideas were scrapped, like the Bed of Chaos, the end boss of this area, originally being an enemy that sort of moved around and tried to hit you and wasn't what it ended up being, which you'll see, and oh my god, is it atrocious. It is so atrocious. There was actually a formal apology by Miyazaki for that boss fight. That should give you an indication of how bad it is. Now, up here is something very important. This. Et voila. And we return. So I'm gonna go back these souls and then we'll go back down and I will do the NPC thing I was trying to do, or was going to do. And then we'll go fight the third boss of the Demon Ruins. Which is weird because it feels like we've just barely done anything in the Demon Ruins, which is quite true. Which is quite true. What was I doing? I will be honest with you, after the set I'm going to pump all of the... I'm going to go get a stupid amount of souls and just pump all these stats to what I actually want them to be, because it doesn't really matter at this point. We're not nearly the end of the game, so... Who cares? Like... Why not? I want to be able to do all the shit I want to do with this character, so why the fuck not? Oh, balls. Do I have anything bigger? Oh fuck, give me a sec. I might just cut most of this out. Alright, so we're back here to do the thing I was trying to do. And I do want to grab the items here, because why not? Nice. Oh, I forgot, 60 FPS. Fucks with geometry in this game. There's nothing down that way, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, down this way is a very, very unique enemy. This thing. They're pretty pathetic. Don't really give him many souls. They do give sunlight medals for some reason. But they also lead to this. You can only open this once you're +2 in the Chaos Servant rank. But once you do, you get access to the shortcut. And most importantly, this fucker over here. The one with the red eyes. Who drops this. a loathsome parasite that inhabits Lost Islev. It is completely immobile, yet still lives. When worn on the head, why the hell you'd want to put this on your head? If it's a loathsome parasite, I don't know, but okay. It emanates blinding light, which is why it is known as a sunlight maggot. It basically gives you permanent cast light. Oh, and if you're going through Lost Islev yourself and you want a frame of reference for where this ends up... Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Get the fuck over here, little piece of shit! Oh, fuck. I guess I don't really need woody drops, but... I'll be back down here anyway. This should give you an indication. Do I have binocs? Don't think I do. Slightly only time I'd ever consider using it, but that over there is a prowling demon. Incidentally, the only prowling demon that respawns in the game. And that's where you end up. That's the path you take into Lost Islev if you go down this shortcut, but that's not what I'm doing. So I will see you in a bit. Okay, so we're down here now, underneath the boss area we were just fighting in. And this is where the next boss is. After a long and careful trek down this way, which is a great place to set up the red tearstone ring activation. And also, look at this! Our good buddy Solaire is right here. We will not be needing Solaire for this fight, but it is nice to know that he is here in spirit. Oh, I'm a dumbass, I did that in the wrong fucking order. I do want to be very careful with this fight though, because it's a bit of an awkward one. I will admit that's a pretty neat design. Unfortunately, the arena for fighting this guy? Atrocious. There are multiple ways to do this. You can either wait for him to come to you and attack him there, where you'll have very little room to move. You can either go down that way and he'll pelt you with ranged attacks most of the time, or you can do what I did and go here instead. Thankfully, he doesn't have a hell of a lot of health, so it's not too bad. He will not last. Nevertheless, it is very important to kill him, because he drops this ring. Incidentally, if you cut the tail of that boss, you will get the ring even without having to kill him, which has its own uses as well. It is this ring. Reduces lava damage by a lot. Since his sores were inflamed by lava from birth, his witch sisters gave him this special ring, referring to ceaseless discharge, actually. But fool that he is, he readily dropped it, and from that spot, a terrible centipede demon was born? Okay. And there's a sealed up door which presumably led into Lost Islev normally, like back when it wasn't fucked up. The other way you can do that fight is to go down this way, but the thing about that is that if you do that, he will just go and spam his ranged sort of jab attack, and it's no good. So I don't do that anymore. Especially since you can just go to this arena here, and it'll be a lot easier. But thanks to that ring, we can get into Lost Islet from the other way and do some other things. So that's pretty neat. Also, our good buddy Solaire is here in the flesh. How you doing?
Why? Why? After all this searching, I still cannot find it.
Not too good, not too good. The bit of dialogue that you missed before this, when he's in by the altar of sunlight, is where he's thinking to himself like, will they think of me as a blind fool searching without reason for this sun? He can't find it in Analondo, he can't find it in Blighttown. He's starting to lose faith in his search and the success he will find in that.
Why? After...
So he's down here, and this is the big turning point. When you find him here and press on to Lost Islet or reload the area, that's when one of two things can happen. Which I've already tended to. I've already tended to that stuff, so Solaire will be fine. He can rest easy. It's time to press on with the rest of this area. There is a bonfire I want to access. And I'm sorry if this is, like, blindingly horrible. Welcome to Lost Islet. That is what Lost Islet is like. Blindingly horrible. I'll try my best not to stare into the lava. Or it's like staring directly into the sun. There are some areas, enemies. Here, you can see them there. They're the bottom halves of dragons, believe it or not. And they're down here for fuck knows what reason. And they're a pain in the ass to fight, so don't fight them. Which is fine now, because they have pretty awful aggro range, but from what I hear back in the day, they're a bloody nightmare. Because they're one of those enemies that, you know, I was complaining earlier about, at least I think I was, about bosses that sort of jump up in the air out of your field of view and then drop straight down on your head, and you're like, how the fuck do I deal with this? I can't see what he's doing. I can't time it. This is bullshit. That's this enemy incarnate. Although one of the hilarious things about them is that you can kind of get them to kill each other by jumping on each other. Just heard it then. But, that's that. This way is what I wanted. A secret bonfire. Excellent. Now, I think that's where this part should stop, and I will return after I'm done with some household stuff. So, I will see you then.